Hi everybody, my name is Stephen Gallo, and what I'd like to do today is take you through an overview of our Payroll Control Center Accelerator, brought to you by SpinFX IT. For those of you who know us, SpinFX IT has a wide variety of products, from report generation, document creation, employee cloning, and solutions to help your shared service center. But today we're going to focus on the top line. We're going to focus on how our easy reporting solution integrates with Payroll Control Center to create a better experience. There's really three simple concepts that we're going to look about today that Easy Reporter and our PCC solution can help you with. It'll help you implement your policies faster. It's going to provide you easier ongoing maintenance. And we're going to see some advanced features that don't come with standard Payroll Control Center that are going to help you solve alerts faster. And there's a history behind this of why we actually built the integration layer into Payroll Control Center using our solution suite. Easy Reporter has been around for almost 15 years now, and it is the go-to solution for HR and payroll reporting. And what our customers were doing, they were using the reporting solution itself to do the types of policy audits and alerts before payroll and after payroll using Easy Reporter. So it just seemed a likely fit that when Payroll Control Center came around, we made some integration into Payroll Control Center to allow people to use those policies or those reports as policies and make their lives a whole lot easier. Because the reason Easy Reporter can be used for this is because of all the master data and payroll that it contains, right? So Easy Reporter has access to the full info type system. It has access to employee central data. It has access to all the payroll clusters, which we are localized for 42 countries out there. So it seemed like an ideal fit to use our reporting engine as a policy engine for Payroll Control Center. That's essentially what we did. Let's talk about our Payroll Control Center solution. The whole idea behind Payroll Control Center is to get your payroll process faster, right? It provides an easy to use interface to get your payroll done. And we integrate directly into it. When we go through this today, you're going to see that the Easy Reporter reports act, taste, smell, and work just like standard policies inside of Payroll Control Center. But we'll talk about the additional features that Easy Reporter enables you to do. For one thing, what we're going to find when we get in here is this advanced drill down into the policies out there. When things go wrong inside of Payroll Control Center is very good about telling you those things. But it's not really good about telling you why. So we're going to see how we can drill in even deeper into a policy or an alert that popped to determine what the actual root cause is out there. We've also integrated reporting directly into Payroll Control Center. Obviously, Easy Reporter is a reporting platform. It made sense to include reporting as part of it. What we'd like to say is, as you'll see, is our solution is kind of future-proofed. With the standard SAP implementation of Payroll Control Center, you're going to be doing a lot of things that are hard-coded into the system. Using our policy engine, you get a little more flexibility out there that as things change, it's not a major project to make adjustments. Because here's what we're talking about, right? What's the best part about Payroll Control Center? And that would be the one-click monitoring, in my opinion, right? So your payroll, say your payroll's on a Friday, you have to calculate it. On Monday, you can turn on the one-click monitoring, and it'll run all week, checking for people who have certain things wrong with them based on your business rules. People with high net pay, people with retro over an amount, right? There's all these different policies that SAP delivers, and we deliver as well to help you analyze your payroll before, during, and after it, right? A nice part about one-click monitoring is if someone has a problem and you fix it, later in the week someone changes their master data again. If it causes another problem, it'll show you the person again, right? So that's the idea behind one-click monitoring. You can keep fixing these people and analyzing them until they're correct. So by the time you get to payroll calculations on Friday, you have less things that you need to fix. Because this is essentially what we did, right? When it comes to the policies and the monitoring out there, SAP delivers a policy engine out there. They come with 40-some or so default policies out there, the high net, retro over amount. What we essentially did was this. We created another policy engine, and it works side by side with standard SAP. So what I'm getting at is one, if you've already implemented Payroll Control Center, that's fine. If your policies are out there, if they're not broke, don't fix them. Our engine can run side by side with what you've already done. But if you haven't implemented Payroll Control Center, it's advantageous to take a look at the Easy Reporter solution because it can get you up and running faster. Because that's one of the things that needs the most improvement. Like, so if the one-click monitoring and the policies are the best part, configuring them is not, right? So if you want to change a threshold, so SAP might deliver a policy that says net pay over $5,000. But for your company, that's not going to work. It's got to be $8,000. And not only that, you want something even more complex. We're like, hey, show me hourly people with net pay over this, and show me salaried people with net pay over that. If you want to make those types of changes, you're either doing a few things. You're in the config, changing some parameters out there, which means you have to go through dev, test, QA, promote it through the track, or you're changing code, right, which is the worst, right? What we want to configure our payroll control center. Every time we got to make a change, we got to get a developer in there, change the code, and move it through the track, right? But we're saying with Easy Reporter is that we're not going to have to do that, and I'll show you what I mean as we go through this. Because Easy Reporter, we're going to use the reporting engine to generate policies out there. And we actually deliver all the standard SAP policies as reports in Easy Reporter. For those of you who've ever looked at the system, you know that you can build reports in a drastically less amount of time than writing ABAP or manually manipulating them using the standard tools SAP delivers. What we think is about an 85% reduction in the changes to your policies using our engine, right? So we don't have to update the parameters in the IMG. We can do it right in Easy Reporter. Press save on the report and then it's deployed, right? And in addition, we also have full configuration of the visuals of the policy itself. Like for example, if you're looking at this screenshot, all the things that you see about this policy that fired off where someone had a net pay difference, all those little elements where we show the employee number, their current pay, their previous pay. These in standard SAP would be things that you have to configure on the back end. We can actually just make small tweaks to it using Easy Reporter because it's actually being driven by the Easy Reporter solution of what is displayed. So it not only helps you build your policies faster, but it helps you make those small little tweaks along the way where you find out, hey, you know what would be better as we're trying to solve this policy is if we had employee subgroup on the screen, right? We make that process very simple. Because this is what we're trying to save you from, right? The software development lifecycle of death. Right? When you have to change something, you have to create a functional spec. And then the developer makes a change. And then you go and test it, and it doesn't work. So it goes back to the developer, and you test it, and you're moving things through the track and back and forth through the track, and it's taking time. Right? What we're saying here is because Easy Reporter is a rapid development solution, we can not have to do the software development lifecycle. If you need to change a field, you drag the field on your report. If you need to change a threshold, you change the number and press save. Right? And you can test it right inside of Easy Reporter. You don't have to deploy it in the Payroll Control Center. You just make your change, test it in Easy Reporter, and you can be pretty confident that the policy is going to show you what you want inside of Payroll Control Center out there. And here's where we really diverge, right? As I mentioned earlier, Payroll Control Center is really good about showing you what went wrong. This guy's got high net over this amount. But why? What were the wage types that caused that? And in this case, it's a retro scenario that I'll show you in a minute, right? This person had retro of $6,900. Payroll Control Center would have told me that back when the policy alerted us of it. But I want to know why. What caused it? Well, we can see here that it was his annual salary, his salaried wage type that caused retro for the 2 periods that it fired off. Right. So what I'm telling you is you can, right from Payroll Control Center, see what happened to this person's payroll without having to go back into the payroll system. Right. If a policy or an alert popped, you might say, ooh, I don't know what happened. Let me go log into SAP and check his master data and all his payroll using the standard solutions that they give you. We can actually show you right inside of Payroll Control Center what changed and why. And like I mentioned, we built the reporting process right into Payroll Control Center. So as different steps in your payroll, you might run a report for this or a report for that. Or at the end of the payroll, you might run all your registers, right? Your benefits register, your payroll register, the deductions register. We can actually integrate that as a step inside of Payroll Control Center. So Payroll Control Center processes have steps. You start payroll, you run payroll, you post your bank file, you post your postings. But we also now have a step for reporting where you can execute any Easy Report or a set of Easy Reports as part of this step in the process, saving you time from having to go run them yourselves. So really what we're getting down to is that we're allowing you to build your monitoring policies faster. And since it's Easy Reporter, it's going to be super simple to update. And if you have anything custom beyond the 40 policies that are delivered, it's Easy Reporter. So you can just go build a new report, put in the logic for your policy, and you're good to go. So what we've shown with some of our customers is that, a normal Payroll Control Center implementation can take around 2 to 3 months. We're saying it can take about 3 to 4 weeks now. Granted, if you have 30 payroll areas, it might take a little longer. But if you're using an average number of payroll areas, some of the base config to get live without a lot of customizations, we can get it stood up very quickly using the Easy Reporter solution. Let's go take a look. Okay. Let me just log into SAP GUI here, and then we're going to jump into Payroll Control Center. Okay, we're now here in SAP GUI. I'm going to load up Easy Reporter. To explain how this works, we kind of have to know the background of Easy Reporter, right? Easy Reporter allows you to build reports using the modules that we mentioned before, payroll, HR, Employee Central time posting out there. And typically, what most of our customers have done in the past is they would have had a folder out here, perhaps for some pre-payroll reports, right, where they're trying to make sure tax info types are correct, find people with pay scale group changes, find people missing master data. And then Payroll Control Center came along and said, hey, you know what, we'll build some policies in there, we'll make it a visual way for you to see it. So what we've done is, as part of our SpinFX IT Payroll Control Center RDS, Rapid Deployment Solution, we've delivered the set of policies that are actually easy reports. For example, here in our folder, right, these are the payroll-related policies or reports that can be used as policies in Payroll Control Center. And what makes this nice is this, right? Let's go find retro pay over amount, right? So we have some folks in here. Let's try to give this a run, right? Because what Payroll Control Center does is when it executes, it passes the parameters in here. Let's run a special period. Let's run 07/2017. And we will run the simulated data that has been processed out there for these employees. I have a Payroll Control Center run we'll see in a second that has simulated period 7 of 2017 for us. We'll put in our employees here, and we'll give it a run. So when this thing fires off inside of Payroll Control Center, it would find these two people that had a problem with this specific policy. Because we have a threshold set out there, right? This guy's at $6,000, this guy's at $7,000. And this policy, retro pay over amount, might be set to something specific, like $1,000. Well, here's what I meant by changing the policies is easy. And we can test it right here. Let's say you create a policy and you're like, ooh, 50,000 people showed up. That's probably not a good policy for our organization because it's probably a standard practice. You want to go in and tweak it, and you want to test it right away. Let's see if we set this up to greater than $7,000 right now, right? We're going to just go in and change the variable. And we can test it right here. Re-execute our report. Our $6,000 person should disappear. Boom, right? So you can see the results of changing your policy right inside of Easy Reporter. You don't have to deploy it. You don't have to resimulate your payroll. You can test it right here. And you would save this report and move on. So that's how the back end of this works, right? It's Payroll Control Center calls Easy Reporter to have the policy or the report produce the error list. That said, what does it look like in actual Payroll Control Center? So this is my Payroll Control Center, right? We're going to first take a step into process management for a second, because we'll see some processes that we have executed out here in Payroll Control Center. We're going to look at a simulated run today. In most cases, you would have a production run that would have start payroll, run payroll, post payroll, all the steps that I spoke about earlier. But in our case, for the sake of demonstration, we're going to look at a simulated run. The simulated run that we're going to look at is this payroll area for monthly, right? We have this monthly simulation run out here that is already in the monitoring phase, right? So we've gone through, let's just click in here. The payroll simulation has run for July of 2017. The policies have been executed, and now we're in the monitoring step, and there are 12 alerts that are assigned to this Spin PCC user out here. Let's go take a look at the policies that alerted us. Let's go into error management. All right, so here's all the errors that have been assigned to the Spin PCC user, and this was the monthly simulation that we were looking at before, the July 2017, and these are all the errors. Let's go and solve one of these so we can see how the SpinFX solution makes it easier to solve. Let's go in here and let's look at our retro pay over amount person. All right, so we have Braden over here, Braden Washington. He has $6,166 in retro, right? We know our threshold was set to over $1,000. And we saw that the report fired it off on the back end, and now we see it here visually, right? So that's the integration to it. It's called Easy Reporter on the back end, brought it through to Payroll Control Center, and now we see it through the Payroll Control Center look and feel. And this is typically where Payroll Control Center stops, right? It's very good about telling you what happened during the pay, but we want to know why he had this retro gross amount, because maybe we have to go change his base pay record. Maybe we might have other things in here to update info type 14 or 15, or go directly to a success factor screen. Let's drill in. Right? So let's see what's up with Braden. What's happening now is it's loading the SpinFX IT exclusive set of data. This is where we differ directly from Payroll Control Center. What you're seeing up here is this report that was executed that actually shows us some information about the employee, their total pay, their retro periods, that retro amount again. This is 100% configurable. Depending on the policy that you fire off, This is really just a report that got run, so we're really just dragging and dropping fields on a certain report. So what I'm saying is this is where the configuration makes easier. We're looking at Braden here, and it might be something very specific to your company and saying, hey, you know what? To help solve this faster, usually we need to know the pay scale group. So we could go back to the report that did this, drag on pay scale group, press save, and the next time it runs, it would be here. But more importantly, let's go look at this guy's data. What we get as part of the SpinFX IT Payroll Control Center solution is the ability to drill into this person. We can execute reports directly against Braden for this specific period of time. Let's go look at this wage type drill down. And I call this the needle in the haystack, right? There's some retro that happened to this person. We don't know what it is. It could be anything. For the sake of demonstrations, we've kept it pretty simple. Let's go look at the monies that were paid this employee, right? So he had a wage type 1,000 for gross and salaried, and boom, now we can see his current pay and his retroactive pay. And we can see in here when we go into the retro that it retroed back the 2 periods that it said. We're in period 7, it went back to period 5, and we can see the in and the out. And this is very simple for the purposes of demonstration, right? I can look at this and say, his salary wage type changed. I'm going to bet his base pay on info type 8 or in success factors got updated. But you don't know that, right? This could be any one of 1,000 wage types, needle in the haystack, 5 different things could have fired off, and we want to know what actually caused it, and we can at least see that visually from here. Right, so that's step 1 of it. Step 2 is let's go find out what actually did change to cause his annual salary to update. So let's just scroll back up here. Oops, too far. Let's go back to our report list. And let's go look at some master data reports, right? Let's analyze his master data. Master data audit report. So this is running and looking at the master data that was updated for this guy for this period of time. And we can see here on this report that obviously info type 3 has changed at some point. That's pretty standard process out there. But as we go down here, down this list, we can see, info type 8 did change, and the changed on date was on 7/28, which is in July, so it was changed within this period, and that's probably what caused his retro activity. And we can see that in fact his annual salary went from $125,000 to $162,000, and it was made effective on 5/1. So here's your needle in the haystack answer, right? Why did his annual salary change? Well, his base pay record did in fact change, but you can imagine it could be one of the 1,000 wage types out there. And what this allows you to do is find out exactly what happened to the employee right here within Payroll Control Center without having to leave and go back into SA Paid. And obviously, since it's Payroll Control Center, if this is good, you can just set this to resolved and move on. You can even forward these things to perhaps maybe it is a problem out there and someone needs to go make the correction. You can pass it to other members on your team. So that's the idea behind the SpinFX IT Payroll Control Center policy engine, right? We build the policies in Easy Reporter. They're then made available inside of Payroll Control Center, and what we also give you is this additional drill down functionality to actually get your reports, to help you analyze the data faster. There's one other thing we want to take a look at. Let me go back into process management. I talked about running reports holistically out there. What we have out here is also a simulation for July, but this one actually has the reporting step executed against it. What we can do is any of the easy reports that we have inside the system, we can actually run as part of a step in Payroll Control Center, right? So the simulations run, policies have kicked off, monitoring's already completed. Now let's run some reports about this payroll. What it does is it brings up this lovely menu where we're going to see all the reports that we've set up to execute as part of this process, right? Maybe, and this is running for the entire payroll area, right? It's not just running for an individual. When we were drilling through policies, it was one at a time. We can see here we might have a payroll register, pay-to-pay gross and net reports, and we can actually view them right here directly from Payroll Control Center without ever having to go back in SAP and executing them. So if you have 10 or 15 reports you always kick off as part of your pay, you can include them right here inside of Payroll Control Center. You can, of course, download and export these to Excel right from here. It makes life a whole lot easier, right? So all those things you typically do as part of your payroll process, running payroll, processing payroll, auditing payroll, you can now do it through a nice visualized manner directly inside Payroll Control Center where you can always see what steps your payroll is on. Let's go back over here. Just want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this today. If you have any questions out there, there's of course my email address and the phone number for the SpinFX IT North America. Thank you very much.